To speak about some of the comments that were made here in opposition. First of all, we've just heard from Appalachian Power. They said their rates are too high. So we have told them that for 4 years, but they're not giving us a solution. They're not giving our constituents a solution. And then to the point that that this would be cherry picking. This is not cherry picking. This is a municipal aggregation. You would have counties, you would have towns that would put out an RFP that would say, solicit lower rates. And I don't know anybody in this service territory that would say, you know what, I want to opt out and pay 54% higher than what I could get. So I think that is misinformation, and I would say that. So again, we have not got any solutions. For 4 years, we've not got any solutions. And that's what we're asking. So we have brought a solution that has been vetted by other states. And if Dominion says this affects them, we would definitely look at a friendly amendment to make sure it does not affect them. But as of right now, we see this as a solution to give our constituents the much-needed relief that they need, and we should, as legislators, demand. Thank you.
Senator Reeves and then Senator Peake.
Motion to approve report.
Okay, got a motion to report. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and then Senator Peake.
My chief co-patron just walked in and would love to contribute.
You got one person like it.
All right. Mr.
Yeah, I
Chair,
got one person that likes me.
speaking to the
Senator
bill,
Peake.
I know that Senator Hackworth has been agonizing over the electric cost in his neck of the woods for 4 years now, as has Senator Pillion, as has really the entire delegation, Senator Stanley and I, who are in the APCO territory, and the number of House of Delegates. And it's been a problem, and the bills have been too high, and we've been looking for solutions. And Senator Hackworth and Senator Pillion, this plan that they've put together, I know they put a lot of thought into it and worked very hard on it to come up with any kind of solution to get any kind of response. And so I want to commend them for what they have done. I will say I don't know what the vote's going to be on this one, but I also represent a number of my whole district's Appalachian Power Company, so I've got a bill as well. They've been working on it. I've been working on it. We're looking at it from all angles to do something with Appalachian Power to get these rates down, and I commend them on what they've come up with, an approach to try and do that.
Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We all feel terrible, about, the rates that are going on there, but we're a regulated state. And, if we start pulling the threads on our regulatory system, we're obviously running into a lot of problems with clean energy creation, with transmission, distribution, siting, you name it. We created a CEUR, Commission on Electric Utility Regulation, to begin to sort through these problems and make sense out of an energy policy that we need. I just feel really uncomfortable when we're just throwing different bills up against the wall to see what sticks and trying to make policy out of them. As good as they happen to sound, there are some unintended consequences. And I feel terrible doing this, but I'd have a substitute motion to PBI.
Got a motion and a second to substitute the bill. I would say what's appropriate is probably, if you're going to PBI the bill, a letter to the Commission on Electric Utility Regulation, because this is a real issue that's got to, you can't just ignore the needs of Southwest Virginia.
Correct, Mr. Chairman, and I would so amend my motion.
Okay. Senator Serville.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say that looking at a regulated monopoly versus the competition model is something that we are hoping to get to at the Commission on Utility Regulation. We've obviously got a huge pile of stuff, and they're staffing up, and we're still trying to figure out our workload for the year, but it is something we're hoping to look at in the next year or two. So I think it would be appropriate for us to get a referral.
So, and you think you've got room to take a look at this?
I didn't say that. I think we have room to look at it probably in the next 2 years. Whether we have to prioritize what we get, and obviously there's more and more stuff getting sent to us this session, constantly. And Mr. Chairman, you serve on the CER with me, and so does Senator Obenshane next to you there.
So does Senator Lucas. on
Oh,
the
yeah,
other
Lucas is
side.
there too. Yeah, the three of you. Yeah, all of us do. So I think this is definitely something we want to look at, and we're planning on looking at. The
Mr. Chair.
timing of it is what we're trying to figure out, given everything else we're being asked to look
Senator
at.
Hackworth wants to respond.
Yes, Mr. Chair, before this vote, and I can count, so I did pass school with counting, but we are known to be very slow in the General Assembly. I understand that. What we have here is an immediate problem that we have tried for 4 years. 4 years. And now we're going to try to take it to a letter and send it to another committee, and it's going to be another 2 years. And then the molasses barrel just gets thicker and thicker. We need relief now. We need relief now, not 2 years, 4 years, whatever. So I urge this committee, please do not PBI this bill. Thank you.
I think the concern is, at least in part, is if the pilot project is in Appalachian this year, it will be in Dominion somewhere next year, or maybe one of the co-op territories next year, and then the whole regulated market falls apart.
So we allow the constituents in this territory to suffer because we are afraid of doing something bold, which is creating a pilot program to see if this works. It's got a sunset. We have people that's below the poverty line that are literally having to choose between medication and food. And having heat, the most basic thing that we all should enjoy. I just do not see the compassion and humanity.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Stanley,
Speaking against the substitute motion.
Senator Stanley, and then Senator Searle.
For too long, we used to be the industrial center point, coal, tobacco, textiles. We led Virginia. NAFTA took our jobs away, and then the government said tobacco was bad and coal's bad. And so we're left with, unfortunately, an economy where the family of four per capita income is almost half of what and you're asking now us to just wait another couple of years when, as the good senator who patroned this bill said, people are making a decision whether to put food on the table or pay a power bill. We now have, unfortunately, the scariest thing in men and women's hearts in Southside and Southwest Virginia is going to the mailbox every month to find that monster in it that says you owe me $800 and I will cut you off unless you pay. We have lost 600 some odd jobs at the Magnolia plant in Carroll County. And what was the number one reason they gave while they were leaving? Power bill's too high. We can get it cheaper elsewhere. And then we go to this study thing that we seem to be fond of, where we study and then nothing gets done and we come back. Well, I'm against this. Let's give it a shot. What else are we going to do? Maybe it makes APCO take a serious look at these bills and say we can do something better. Maybe it makes them finally wake up and do something and care about the individual who must take their power if they hope to have a heated home or electricity. Senator Hackworth is exactly right. Try something or continue to do nothing and these rates go up. They are the most feared and hated entity in our region, in Southside and Southwest Virginia. If we hear one thing, we hear it all the time, and we're told to go back out and tell them it'll be okay. And it's not okay. It's not okay. Look at all these reports, $800 for a family to try to survive. When you're talking about $30,000, $35,000, that's almost 50% of your net income after tax. I mean, this is a working man bill. It's about time we did something, and I want to commend you, Senator, and you, Senator, for bringing it. No study, please. Let's put this out on the floor.
Okay, thank you. Then Senator Servell, then Obenshane, then McDougal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first of all, I can appreciate the concern by the senator looking out for his constituents. And by the way, I'm also an APCO customer myself. So,
Then you're a yes.
I can tell you this. I remember, I think it was in 2011, where I saw the former minority leader of the House of Delegates light himself on fire in the House of Delegates, Ward Armstrong, making a motion to discharge the committee to have an APCO bill put on the floor because the rates of APCO were high, and he was feeling that pain back then in 2011. So, this has been going on. The complaints from legislators down there, some have been hearing for a while. It comes and goes depending where rates are. But I would just say that I'm not sure that retail competition is the answer. In many states where retail competition has been implemented, it's actually resulted in higher prices. And allowing some customers to aggregate and get out of the system while leaving the others on the old legacy system does not necessarily result in everybody getting a better deal, which is why historically we've had a regulated monopoly system where everybody's kind of in the same boat together, and it's all managed collectively by the State Corporation Commission, who we entrust to try to get these guys to produce electricity at the lowest rate possible, or the lowest cost possible relative to all the policy considerations we give them. So I feel your pain. This isn't the first time. It's not going to be the last time. It seems to me if we're going to go down this retail competition thing, the issue deserves study and consideration and deliberate thought, and not just being reactive because rates happen to be high at one time. So I'm sympathetic. I agree we need to look at it. I'm just not sure that doing it this way in this committee in a 20-minute hearing is the right way to do it, and that's why you're hearing we need to refer it off.
Obenshane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple of thoughts. Number one, Senator Surville may very well be an APCO customer, but I'm not too worried about him freezing to death in his home during the winter. And that is a very real concern for an increasing number of Virginians while we adopt policies that are continually driving up energy costs without regard to people who are really struggling. And I too can count, and I suspect that this probably is not going forward. There are four of us who sit on CURE, and there are wants and there are needs. And right now, the Commission on Electric Utility Regulation is looking at ways that we can jumpstart the so-called Virginia Green Economy Act. Those are wants, and they are coming increasingly in conflict with needs of people all over Virginia. In Europe, you can read in the newspaper all winter about people who are freezing to death in their homes. I don't want that for Virginians. I would hope that if this does go to the Commission on Electric Utility Regulation, that it will get the priority that it deserves, and that we'll find a way to address this sooner rather than later. I'm not comforted by the fact that we may not have time to deal with it when we've got people like the lady you just described who can't afford to pay any of her bills as a consequence of her ever-escalating APCO bill. So, if this does go to the Commission, I certainly hope, and I implore the chair to give this special priority and bump this up to the very top of the agenda, not somewhere 2 or 3 years down the line.
Okay, thank you. Senator McDougal, then Senator McPike.
Mr. Chairman, I think Senator Hackworth, Senator Pillion, Senator Peake, and Senator Stanley have expressed real concerns that are immediate, and the solutions that we're contemplating are long-term. So my question is, was APCO willing to suspend disconnects in the amount of time that it'll take for CERC to be able to bring this up? So if they get it sooner than a year, then that time would be less. If it takes them more than 2 years, at least those individuals in the area won't be freezing to death in their homes.
Great question. Here it comes.
Got really quiet in here.
That requires a response